Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? Well, it was just reported earlier today that Robert the Ghost Guerrero is trying to get out of his contract with Golden Boy by way of arbitration so that he can possibly land a fight with Manny Pacquiao in April of this year. This is an interesting development, guys. Very, very interesting. For many reasons. For one reason, if you guys have been watching my previous videos, I've talked about it on a couple of videos that I've done, basically saying that I would love to see Manny Pacquiao versus Robert the Ghost Guerrero for many reasons. For one reason is Robert Guerrero is a different type of opponent that Manny Pacquiao. Robert Guerrero, he knows how to box. He may not be Floyd Mayweather, but Robert Guerrero, he is a thinker, believe it or not. That was the reason why it took Floyd Mayweather about a good 3 rounds to figure out Robert Guerrero, because Guerrero was in there thinking. He was in there counterpunching with Floyd Mayweather, and, you know, he showed a decent defense against Floyd Mayweather, at least if you compare him to other opponents that face Floyd Mayweather. So another reason why I would love to see this matchup between Pacquiao and Guerrero, because obviously we get some more contrast. We get to gauge Manny Pacquiao's performance against the same opponent that Floyd Mayweather faced. You know, for people who were saying that Robert Guerrero was just a bum and, oh, that's why Floyd Mayweather beat him, we're going to see how much of a bum Guerrero is when he gets in the ring with Manny Pacquiao. Or I should say, if he ever gets in the ring with Manny Pacquiao. We're going to see. Because Guerrero was never a bum. It just happens to be that a lot of people don't like Floyd Mayweather, and they seen Floyd Mayweather beat Guerrero so easy, they have to find some type of way to discredit Floyd Mayweather's win. So what they do is they throw their own fighter underneath the bus just to try to offend Floyd Mayweather. But see, what happens is if Guerrero ends up facing Manny Pacquiao, and that fight is even close, regardless if Pacquiao wins or not, if that fight is close, if that fight is basically fought tooth and nail, if it's Frazier Ali, then the fight will end up telling us a lot more about Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather. Okay? So I would love to see that fight. I would not mind watching Pacquiao versus Guerrero. It would be very interesting to see how Manny Pacquiao does with another opponent that Floyd Mayweather faced as well and beat very easy. All right? Now, that's the good news when it comes to Manny Pacquiao versus Guerrero. Now, here is somewhat the bad news when it comes to this fight. Now, the bad news is, at least, well, none of this is bad for Guerrero. This is win-win for Guerrero. And you know what? I almost forgot to bring up something else when it comes to Guerrero before I go any further. Now, I will say I find it very interesting that Guerrero is willing to leave Golden Boy, right? Richard Schaefer, he basically said, I can't understand why Robert Guerrero will want to leave. We have all of the best fighters in our stable, right? You know, Richard Schaefer, he was basically saying Guerrero, he could have fought Broner. He could have fought Keith Thurman. He could have fought Lucas Matisse, you know, etc., Maidana, etc., right? So Richard Schaefer and Golden Boy, they're really puzzled trying to figure out why Robert Ghost Guerrero would pull a move like this. I mean, you know, this all started when Richard Schaefer basically tried to make a Keith Thurman versus Robert Guerrero fight. And I truly believe that Robert Guerrero was like, ain't no way I'm getting in there with that damn beast. You could forget about it. And he turned down the fight, right? He turned down the fight. And Richard Schaefer, he said that he was offering Robert Guerrero all kind of fights. Like fights like, you know, Marcos Maidana, Broner, etc. And basically Robert Guerrero, he continued to turn all the fights down. I truly believe that Robert Guerrero, he was truly heartbroken from his loss to Floyd Mayweather. And he just felt he never wanted to feel that way again. He never wanted to feel like a loser again. And being in a Golden Boy stable where the competition is so fierce, I truly believe that Guerrero, he was really hesitant to get in the ring with one of those lions. But now all of a sudden, here's an opportunity to basically once again be in a win-win situation when it comes to Robert Guerrero. Because we all know when you get in the ring with Floyd Mayweather, you're in a win-win situation. Even when you lose, you win. You become a millionaire. You become extremely famous overnight. So I think this is the reason why Team Guerrero, they are pretty much stoked over the idea of being Manny Pacquiao's next opponent. Okay, so now let me go back to what I was about to say earlier. So these are all the good things. This is the good news when it comes to a possible Pacquiao versus Guerrero fight. Now let me just talk a little bit about what I guess I could say would be considered the bad news when it comes to this fight, especially when it comes to Manny Pacquiao. Because like I said, when it comes to Guerrero, none of this is bad news. This is all win-win for him. All right, but when it comes to Manny Pacquiao, the bad news is, once again, Manny Pacquiao, he's continuing the trend of fighting losers, okay? He is constantly fighting losers. The other bad news, or the other bad part in this deal when it comes to Manny Pacquiao, is the fact that Manny Pacquiao still has unfinished business to deal with when it comes to Tim the Desert Storm Bradley. I've said on numerous recent videos that Manny Pacquiao is in a bad situation if his only two options are Ruslan Provodnikov and Tim Bradley. I said that I believe both of these fighters, they have a very good chance of beating Manny Pacquiao. And I've also said that this scenario for Manny Pacquiao, it reminds me of where he was when he had just lost to Tim Bradley. Talking about Manny Pacquiao, of course. When Manny Pacquiao lost to Tim Bradley, he had a very difficult decision to make. Does he go right back to the Tim Bradley rematch, or does he fight Marquez a fourth time? And I said back then, I believe that he was in a tough position, and regardless who he fights, he may possibly lose. Okay? So now it looks like Manny Pacquiao has found a way to avoid these two uphill challenges. And that's to fight, and that's to basically look at a third possible opponent, Robert Guerrero. See, like I said, once again, the problem with the Tim Bradley situation is there is no doubt it is going to look as if Manny Pacquiao or Team Pacquiao, they are in fear of possibly losing to Tim Bradley. All the things that I said before, it is coming to fruition right now. They're understanding this. I truly believe that Manny Pacquiao, he did want to fight Tim Bradley. Okay? I think that Manny Pacquiao's team members, his team, they're the ones that they're urging Manny Pacquiao, don't fight Tim Bradley. Because what if he wins? If he wins, everything we said about you being robbed and etc., it will mean nothing. And it will be proven that Tim Bradley was better than you all along, Manny Pacquiao. So do not fight Tim Bradley. Stay away from this guy. And this is exactly what's starting to take place right now. Now, to Team Pacquiao's credit, they are being smart. Because if I was working in Pacquiao's corner or his team, or if I was one of his advisors, I would tell him the exact same thing. If my job is to keep my client winning, I'm going to tell him, don't fight Tim Bradley. Don't fight Tim Bradley. Now, if Manny Pacquiao was asking me and I was his advisor, if he was saying, how do I redeem myself? How do I get that pound-for-pound #1 status back and et cetera, then I would tell him, oh, you need to beat Tim Bradley. You're going to have to beat him. Because like I said, the first fight, it left a bad taste in everyone's mouth. It put a blemish on your record. The guy who, we say, quote-unquote, robbed you, he's still undefeated. He still has your belt. So you're going to have to get that belt back from him. Okay? That's what I would say if Manny Pacquiao was looking to be pound-for-pound #1 best fighter in the world. But if we're just trying to keep Manny Pacquiao winning then I'm going to tell Manny Pacquiao, stay away from Tim Bradley. He is far too dangerous, okay? And when it comes to Ruslan Provodnikov, obviously, Team Pacquiao, they got in his ear when it came to him as well. And they also said, this guy is too dangerous. But this guy is too dangerous for different reasons. This guy may be too strong for you, Pacquiao. He's giving people concussions. If you guys heard the statements that what's his name, Mike Alvarado made recently, he was talking about how he basically had a concussion. When it comes to Ruslan Provodnikov, he was telling the media basically that no one is going to be Provodnikov. This guy is an extremely hard puncher. He's this, he's that, and all of this. And I truly believe that Team Pacquiao, they were listening to it. They were listening to Mike Alvarado when he was talking about Ruslan Provodnikov's power and how good of a fighter he is. All right, they're listening to these things. So yeah, man, they understand that Tim Bradley and Ruslan Provodnikov are two dangerous opponents for Manny Pacquiao. So they're looking down at Robert Guerrero. And quite frankly, Robert Guerrero is a dangerous opponent too. He's a dangerous opponent too. So, these are the problems that Manny Pacquiao has right now. The truth is starting to come out. We're going to see what Manny Pacquiao is made of. We're going to see how good of a fighter he really is when he's not fighting against a flat-footed, easy-to-hit, typical type of opponent. How is he going to deal with a thinker? The last two thinkers that Manny Pacquiao was in the ring with, he lost to both of them. And one of those thinkers, he is not in too much of a hurry to get back in the ring with, and that's Tim Bradley. All right, so like I said, once again, we're going to see what Manny Pacquiao is made of. Now listen, I understand that it is very difficult for Manny Pacquiao fans to hear anything negative about Pacquiao. But you guys have to understand something. I speak nothing but the truth on this channel, okay? I'm not going to say something just because I want to make you feel better. I'm going to tell you the truth. When I was criticizing Nonito Donaire, people were saying, oh, you're just being biased. You don't like Filipinos, and et cetera, et cetera. But they didn't know that my kids are half Filipino, right? People say the same thing when it comes to Manny Pacquiao. How come you give Mayweather so much credit, but you're always talking bad about Manny Pacquiao? It's not talking bad about Manny Pacquiao. It's talking the truth when it comes to Manny Pacquiao. If I tell you Manny Pacquiao, he has no inside game. He has no defense. He has problems with boxers. His balance is off. If he were to get in the ring a fifth time with Juan Marquez, he's still not going to dominate Marquez the way Mayweather did. If I tell you all of those things, those are all facts. That is the truth. It's not talking bad about Manny Pacquiao. It is the truth. And that's what we do on Dante's Boxing Nation. Okay? I mean, I'm not going to sit over here and tell lies about a fighter saying that he's really better than he really is just because I personally like him. That's not the way it works. I like Curtis Stevens a lot, but I still picked Gennady Golovkin to beat him. I predicted that Triple G would beat him because I knew that Triple G was a better fighter than him. All right? There is a difference between liking someone and telling the truth. And you guys have to understand that. So anyway, this is the recent news. Robert Guerrero may be the next opponent for Manny Pacquiao. Like I said, once again, I don't mind the fight. People are going to criticize Manny Pacquiao for fighting another guy coming off of a loss. But it is a good fight. And who knows, if Manny Pacquiao could do better than Floyd Mayweather did against Guerrero, which I don't think will happen, it will be very impressive. Okay, that's the only way this really makes Manny Pacquiao look good, is if he goes in there and he ends up dominating or being the first person to stop Robert the Ghost Guerrero. All right, so I got to go ahead and end this video. I'll catch up with you guys. I'm on to the next one.